Welcome to the Gearbox Podcast with Jimmy Purdy. We're bringing together industry leaders and those in the daily grind. Whether you're a tech looking to level up or a shop owner navigating the business, or just here for some real talk about the automotive world, we're finding the common ground in entrepreneurship and picking up some valuable tips along the way. So buckle up, let's shift into gear. Listen, if you're anything like me, you know the struggles of inconsistent car count and tight margins. That's where Repair Shop of Tomorrow comes in. They help shop owners like us increase sales, improve efficiency, and grow our businesses with proven strategies. Check them out at repairshopoftomorrow.com today and start growing tomorrow. Sweet, Mr. David Boyd, back in again. An hour or a year has gone by.
It was fun a year ago when we sat here and enjoyed our conversation. It got deep last year. If you're a listener didn't, I don't know what episode number that was, but it was with Parker Branch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I could probably do the math, but it's not that important.
It's all good. Yeah.
I try to think about how many shows I do a month and then how many I post. And then the last 2 months I didn't take any, and carry the two. And but like episode 73, I'll go back in editing, see how close I was on that one.
Yeah, that's fun.
They sent me over it. Man, AAPEX is like, I was just talking to Matt Fanslow when he walked in. He was talking about how it's changed so much. And I just don't know AAPEX before 2019.
Right.
I think that year they didn't do it, or they did do it and it was really closed off. I think it was like 2019, 2020. That was the first year I ever came. So like since then, it's like just grown exponentially, like just crazy.
Yeah.
Like even these podcasts, right? There was only like 6 booths last year.
This whole area is double.
Yeah. It's like now there's 12 booths here, and it just seems like it's grown like year over year. I don't know. Were you here? Did you do pre-COVID AAPEX?
I did not. No, last year was actually the first I attended. It was a great turnout, and I've heard people talk about kind of the before, what it is now.
Yeah.
How it's changed dynamically, like what's going on upstairs, what's going on down here by Joe's garage, and the level of skill and training that happens over here, the way that this is all put together, and really the opportunity to what I see is that this is where what happens here at AAPEX is where you're going to elevate your shop from a revenue and capability standpoint.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's connections you make, right? Like the people you meet, and then like I just had someone on about parts manufacturing, and like he used to make contacts and gets to know who these people are, who they're buying their parts from. But it's the same thing for like auto repair, right? Like the people that are providing the service, you get to meet them and hang out with them and podcast with them once a year, right? Like that's like part of it, right? Because then you all grow together and you're all on the same page. But like with training, right? You get someone like Keith Perkins that's out there like doing L1 training, and then you get Seth Thorson, yeah.
Yep.
And you get to learn about Tesla. It's like right there. I was over there. I mean, it's nice that it's so close to here, because I could walk over there and say hi. And Justin Allen, right? You get Justin Allen to show you how to use the Hunter machine. It's like the nicest guy in the world, and you don't feel pressured at all. He's just like showing you how the alignment machine works.
Yep.
You see that tire changer? Like does it by itself? Like,
I did.
Oh my God.
Talk about AI.
I brought my whole shop here, the whole team here, right? And that's the first thing I brought them to AAPEX before, because I know once they go to SEMA, they're like gone. And I mean, like all day, it's like smoke. They're just gone in the wind, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to get them AAPEX first, because I knew they were going to go.
That's a voice show over there.
Oh man, dude. And they're like,
yeah.
And you don't find nobody. Like if you lose someone in SEMA, they're gone. And AAPEX, they can give you the booth number, and you get a pretty good chance of tracking them down. But SEMA is like, they're dust in the wind, man. They're gone.
Yes. Yeah.
But I showed him that tire machine, and he's like, well, I don't like doing tires, but if you had that, I'd do tires. I'm like, yeah, I bet.
I bet you would.
I can get Mallory to do it with that thing.
Yeah, you're 6-month-old.
Yeah,
exactly. Hit this button.
And she loves buttons. Yeah. She's just like changing tires.
Right.
It's crazy. But you never see that, because I would never. You just get a tire machine, right? And like, if anything like me, like you just like Facebook Marketplace, tire machine, right? Tire bouncer, and it's like, oh, $2,000, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not buying a brand new machine unless I'm selling like, hundreds of $1,000s in tires. Like, what? I don't need a fancy. So I wouldn't even know that it existed unless I came here.
You did something very important, and you brought your whole team.
Yeah.
And you made a choice to really shut down your operation.
Yeah.
And invent.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Yeah, sorry about that. But
I didn't sleep very much last night thinking about that.
Don't tell your business coach. But this is all part of the investment, right?
Yeah.
So you could come here as an owner and you could have a lot of takeaways, but you said, I'm going to make an investment in my team. I'm going to bring the whole team here. They can get some training. They can see what's out there. And then you're going to elevate their experience of working for you by not just coming to a show, but it's where you brought them and the whole package, right? So this is a pretty big event. They're going to come back now with new ideas and, insight about how to do stuff. They've gone through some great training. They've seen other, great technicians do work and educate and invest in them as well, so they can take this all back. But now there's other technology. There's the experience. There's the cool stuff. I mean, they'll get over to SEMA and see all the toys.
Yeah.
So
reinvigorate the passion.
Yeah. And this is it's a work trip, but it's got a lot of payoff. So that's an important part, because I talk with a lot of owners out here that that's kind of a hard thing. This is as much a training event and an opportunity to elevate your business and your shop as anything else. This is more than just getting, once a year going out to Vegas and seeing all the cool stuff in the industry.
Right. It's you can't explain the experience.
Right.
Like I and I've been here, this is like the 5th year now in a row, right? Or 4th year. I don't know. But I talk to people, I make connections, and then I bring it back with me, and I'm like, hey, this is what we need to do. This is why. And that's all well and good. And I can elaborate pretty well, but it's just not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like just come here. The funny thing you brought that up was the one thing they talked about after the first day, which I think was yesterday. I don't even know what day it is right now.
Yesterday was the first.
We were talking about at dinner, and they were talking about gloves, and they were all so passionate about finding this glove distributor that can get us gloves for $5 a box. Right. And I'm like,
right.
Oh, sweet. I don't have to walk around booth to booth. And it's like, so I go back and I'm like, hey guys, I found this glove manufacturer. We're going to have new gloves coming in, and it's going to save the company a lot of money. So just so you guys know, every one of them will be like, well, what's wrong with the gloves we got?
Right.
Right. But they come here, they meet someone, they shake their hand, they see their product, they wear it, they try it on. The guy sells them. Right. And that's what he did. And it's not selling him like he's a sleazy salesman. He just was like, hey, this is who I am. This is my product. We're a family-owned company. And that's what they talked about. Oh, that's a mom and pop shop, husband and wife team. Really cool. And they said, get his gloves, and it's going to be like $8 less a box if we buy a pallet of them. And they were talking to my service manager about it, and they're all fired up about it. I'm like, that's a win-win, right? They're happy they found it, and it's going to save the company money. It's like, I could not have taken that back.
Right.
It's crazy. Out of everything here, you guys found some gloves you like, and it's going to save with money. I'm in, right? I don't sold.
Yes. Yeah. That doesn't happen if you don't bring them.
No.
Right. And all of the things that go on here, I mean, this is where you tighten up your operation and you drive efficiency. And this is where you're making money, and the things that they're going to take home from here. This is going to, bring more to your business. It brings more to them. And the cliche is that all ships rise with the tide, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to have all ships in the harbor before they can rise with the tide. And that's the important part. And I think I brought it up because I thought it was great. Most of the folks I see here are owners, or they're peripherally involved in the industry.
Yeah.
They haven't brought their team. I think it's important. Bring your team here. This is a great place.
Well, you got to have the right people. And I think I don't know who I talked to about that, but I think I talked to a lot of people about that. Having the right people, right? Mm-hmm. If you bring your team's a bunch of, alcoholics, right? And it's you know what I mean? They're going to...
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. And what are you going to do? You can't scold them. They're not children, right? So they're going to go out drinking all night until 2, 3 in the morning, and then they're not going to get up till 10. Yeah. They're not going to make it to the event till 12. They're going to be druggy. They're going to be hungover. You're not going to get the most out of it. By 2, 3 o'clock, they're finally getting the rhythm, and then it's over at 4. So they get 1 or 2 hours of this.
Yeah.
And then they go back out, party all night. It's that's not the same, right? So
know your team. Yeah. Make sure you got the right people. Exactly.
And kind of lead by example. I'm here at 7:30, 8. I try to get everyone up and meet at the bottom of the hotel. Hey, you guys want breakfast? Go get your breakfast. I want you guys up, at 8 o'clock. And that way they know at night, maybe pick one night where that's you're not going to bother them. But for me, it's my first time, so I'm still trying to figure it out, trying to keep it, But it's I also want to let them know, hey, I appreciate you guys being up at 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll meet up for breakfast or something like that. And and that way the night before they're like, oh man, I'd like to go out, but I got to be up at 8. And But you shouldn't have to like micromanage that, right? It should be kind of like, man, I'm at freaking SEMA right now. Like, and they don't even know AAPEX. Like none of the guys know AAPEX. All they know is SEMA.
Right.
So AAPEX is like a brand they don't even know existed. Yeah. But they're so excited about that they want to get up on their own early so they can get the most of it. And I can see it in their eyes. I don't need to like
yeah. Exactly.
Worried about them being at a strip club till 4 a.m. You know, it's like it's just not. They're here because they're professionals and they want to do it. Yeah. So, and that was the whole reason why I brought them, because I set a goal. Everyone jumped in. They did exactly what they needed to do, and we met our goal, and now we're here.
Yep.
You know, and it would have been a pretty sad turn of events if we didn't meet the goal, but because it was damn close. We're like, I think it was 1.4. We needed to be at 1.4 in sales by September, so we could close the year at 1.7. That was kind of like the projection, and we were at like 139 at the end of September. Like, well, technically we didn't hit the goal.
One of the technicians had a $10,000 in-house job.
Yeah.
The month, right?
Yeah. It was like, good job, guys. We got close, but we just didn't get it. Like, do I just pull the plug where I got from underneath him over that? I was like, no, I was pretty much sold on it already, you know.
Valiant effort. Yeah, that's good.
I was like, we're going, but like I told them, like, technically we didn't make the goal, and they're like, oh, what does that mean?
Yeah, right.
It's fine. We're on track. I mean, a lot of the sales processes we put in place, and we were talking before we got on the phone about, before we got on the mics about the phone system and how I've used that and changed the entire sales process. And we've gone from like 120 sales to, I think we did 218,000 for October.
Great.
Which is like, my goal is 160.
Yep.
So they like blew it out of the water. So part of it's like, I'm not terribly worried about taking them out to $1,000 dinner and like getting them hotel rooms and all that stuff. But it's also like new territory for me. So you have to like manage your spending correctly and make sure like, because it's always a fear, right? You go back and then things pile up but it's just money, man. It's energy.
It is.
Like the more you spend, the more you come back and it just goes around. But the sales process has really changed, and like taking phone calls more seriously, I think has been a big part of it. There's been a lot of different strategies I've implemented over the last couple of months, but I think just hounding the phone and like really hounding the advisors has been a big one. The one thing I'm surprised is not a lot of AI stuff here in AAPEX. I have not seen much of, if not any at all, about like any sort of systems implementing AI.
Yeah.
So I don't know if people are like staying out of it.
There's a ton over at SEMA, and not to have it be like one show versus the other show. There's a ton of AI over at SEMA.
Really?
And
in what hall?
North Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Call Inbound is set up in the North Hall. This is our first year exhibiting over there. So
that's why there's a ton of AI.
Then it'd be exactly, there's a ton of AI over there because I'm there. And that's a lot of the business services are in that North Hall. So there are half a dozen vendors that are doing voice assistant, and a lot of actually, so one of the biggest things that I'm seeing over there as far as business services is how many new vendors are in the marketplace that are saying, you'll never have to answer the phone again. And it's interesting because there is a segment in the automotive aftermarket that's important. And there's a segment in the automotive aftermarket, which I think is mainly in the independent automotive repair space where you operate and where I serve customers, that the value of the service advisor or the CSR and their level of training and engagement on the phone is still paramount. We're not looking to replace the service advisor. We're looking to use AI to augment that. So it really underscores, what's the intent? How intentional is the owner? Am I about what I'm doing with AI? Am I going to bring some tool in because it's sexy and new and shiny, or do I know what I'm trying to accomplish? And then what's the implication for my team? And what's the implication for my customer? How am I benefiting the customer is really the big question from my perspective. When I use AI in any capacity, how am I benefiting my customer's experience in doing business with me?
That should be the only thing, right? I mean,
should be. I think sometimes it's the second or third thing.
I think that's when you get lost. I think I was lost I mean, we've all been there. I think we ebb and flow into that space where the customers become the pain in the ass, right? And you want to put your team first, right? But the team doesn't get paid unless the customer pays, right?
Right.
And I talk to so many. I mean, on Facebook, right, on social media, I've talked to them. It's like this. My shop is the best. You wait for me. Like, I'm 2 weeks out. Like, look at me beating on my chest. I'm King Almighty. I qualify customers. I tell you if I do business with you, and it's just crazy. It's like absolutely crazy because there's no way you've scaled to the point where you no longer need no more customers, right? Like, you always need a new customer. Whether someone ages out, whether someone passes away, whether they fire you because you said something wrong or did something like, it's just a constant like, in my opinion, right? And that's like a big epiphany I've had recently in that aspect of like going from technician to shop owner and being needed. Like, you're sought after, right? Like, as a technician, you are needed, and it gives you an ego that's really hard to break down, right? Because you're like, everybody needs me, right? You start a business and everyone's calling you, then you're like, or if you work for a shop, people are texting you, messaging you on Facebook. Oh, you're a mechanic. Can you help me? You go to a party. Hey, what do you do for? I'm a mechanic. Oh, can you come out in the parking lot right now and take a look? Like, constantly, like, you tell everybody or anybody, you say you work on cars, I guarantee there's someone like within 3 degrees of you that's going to be like, hey, can you take a quick
Let me ask your opinion about something.
like everywhere for everything, right? And that was a big thing for me for a long time. So I stopped telling people what I did, right? This is like, because I was burnt out, right? And now I can't say it enough, because it's like, the more I tell, but it's the way I operate now, in the sense of, I'm going to use that to get it to the shop to then benefit the team for the shop, instead of being like putting it personally on my shoulders. Like, okay, here's one more thing that I got to go take on. And I think that's where people get real burned out with customers, and they say, and they want an automated voice service, because like, this is the last thing I need to deal with is another phone call. I am 2 weeks out. I am so busy.
Right.
And I think that's missing I think it's just missing the entirety of being a business owner or like being,
Engaging with the customer. I mean, I'm in the phone business, and I always say, the phone is alive and well, and it's true. And there are times when we're looking to drive efficiency by the use of AI, and then the question has to be at what cost, right? So how are we affecting, or what's the implication on my customer's experience? Do I make this feel personable? Am I reinforcing with my customer that I'm the company you want to do business with? So if we have intentional and appropriate use of AI, yes, definitely, it can really raise the bar and make for a great experience.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And as it impacts the customer, am I, as the business owner, putting myself in my my customer's shoes, right? So we might think, hey, I'm only using this for appointment setting, or I'm kind of pawning off my appointment process into the AI realm, but what's happening in the appointment setting process now that I'm missing with my customer experience, right? Are we reinforcing that I know who they are? Are we talking about the client services? How can I leverage AI to better do that possibly, right? And wherever I'm using AI as a technology, am I doing so, one, in an appropriate way? Am I mindful of my customer's experience? And then am I actually raising the bar for my employees and allowing them to be more capable in their daily requirement and their daily expectation? Can we get more done because we're properly using AI to facilitate our work?
Yeah. It needs to be, just exactly that. Mm-hmm. It can't take the place of somebody.
Yeah. So I at this point, I don't subscribe to the idea that we're replacing a service advisor, that we're replacing an employee with AI.
It's a crazy thought for me too. Yeah.
You hear about that, right? You've heard
people, I preach about it. Yeah. Totally, like preaching about it.
Yep. And I can't say that, in 3 to 5 years, we're not going to be at that point. I think the technology potentially exists today to do that. It's quite costly. I've seen some amazing demonstrations about, these interactions and so forth, but the cost of access to that. And then, additionally, I like the idea of I'm on the consumer side of auto repair as well, right? I own a vehicle. I'm not a technician. I'm involved in the operational side of the shop, but I take my car in as a customer, and I like the idea of when I call that I've had, I know the service advisor at the shop I go to, and they know me. That's important. And as we get further away from the personal interaction, how does that make my experience interacting with that shop? So are these the people that I like, know, and trust? Or do I know, am I comfortable that when I call, I know I'm going to be talking to a bot, or I'm going to be talking to AI that's going to have the analog, or it will replicate that sense of knowledge of having that personal relationship with me, but I still know it's a bot, right?
Yeah.
So these are the things that, as we go down this path, and we're going to continue to work through this, there's always, every time I hear about new stuff in the industry, with regard to AI, there's something new, fresh, shiny, sexy looking, whatever.
Yeah.
And it creates a lot of churn for, shop owners, managers, service advisors, because it's like, oh, let's try this thing. Let's try this thing. Let's try this thing. Right. And now the other risk is that we're going to be creating all of this churn of, we're going to try something new, and never really settle in something that's going to actually drive effectiveness for us. So
that's true. Yeah. What's the word for that? There's a saying for that. When you're keeping up with the Joneses, I guess.
Yeah.
I think there's a more
FOMO is what I see all the time. Right.
Yeah. There's another sexy word for that, but it's basically like keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah.
You're just doing something just to do it.
Yeah.
And like back full circle to like talking about me coming here, not bringing the team.
Yeah.
That's what they feel like. Every time I bring back the shiny new thing, they're just like, oh, here we go, right? Here we go. Why are we changing this?
Yeah. Right? When the owner goes, to some training or some event or whatever, it's like, okay, well, how uncomfortable is my life going to be for the next month because he's got some wild harebrained idea.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if it's intentional and it's meaningful and you can articulate that, change management is a big deal, right? So we can have a separate talk about, process and change management and all this stuff and how important that is when we have all of these AI tricks and tools and stuff out there. And I'm in the AI world, right? But I think it's important that when we talk about it, what's it going to do? How are we going to use this? What does this mean for my service advisor? Even in some cases, addressing the uncertainty of like, are you trying to replace me? Why are you bringing in this, this new technology?
But it is a tool, right? And it goes back to technicians, right? Like when you get a new tool for a technician and you make their job easier, they're instantly going to think you're going to pay them less for that job, because that's what a lot of shop owners do, right?
Right.
They want to pass the savings on to the customer so quickly, it like blows your mind, right? People get these discounts from part stores, these rebates, and then they pass that savings to the customer. Like, what do you like? That's not benefiting your customer. It costs you twice as much to take that $10 discount because you just lost $10 and then you lost $10 on GP, right? Because the GP went down because you went $10 down. So it's like that $10 savings that you thought it just turned into 20, right? Like just simple math,
right?
Simple financial math. And like no one understands that, right? So then your parts margin goes from 45 to like 35. Now it's like, now you're getting kind of scary, and then you get down to the 20s. It's like, you're not even making money on parts anymore.
Right.
Now your labor rate needs to go up to make up the difference, right? So now you're in quotes ripping them off because you're overcharging them, right? In labor, but it's because they want to give people customers price of the parts at price or price at cost. It's like crazy. It's a crazy thought. But back to the technician. So you give the technician a new tool, like this fancy new ball joint press or whatever, that lets them do the job in half the time. Every flat rate technician on earth listening right now is be like, is going to go sit on the toilet halfway through, or make sure it takes just as long so they get paid the same.
Great.
Because if the owner sees them doing half the time, like, oh, sweet, now I can charge half price for that. I'll get way more work. What are you doing, man? So it's the same on the advisor side, right?
Yeah.
So, but the AI should be used as a tool.
Yep.
They analyze their own calls, and that's basically what I use for it too. Because you can't sell as good as AI. That's like, there's no way. We have too much empathy. I think that's what it is. AI has zero empathy.
AI,
You can program it to like act like it has empathy.
Yeah.
But when you try to, like, if I try to sell you brakes right now and you say, come back to me and say, man, that sounds really expensive, I immediately think that I am talking to myself and
Right.
I can't afford it. Like instantly my brain will just be like, oh man, that does suck when I can't afford something.
Yeah.
And you just hurt like, man, I don't really want to sell you that because I don't want to take you just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the empathy comes out and you don't have a way of averting that objection, where AI is just like non-objection, no empathy. It's just going to tell you, oh, you have with a price objection, instantly tell, we got 6 months, no interest, Synchrony credit card. You want to apply for that? 6 months, no interest, right?
Yeah.
And instead of discounting your service, you're looking at a way to give them the money so they can get the repair. And that changes the whole game when it comes to sales.
Yep. AI is used extensively in training. And I think that it's a very effective, appropriate use to help the service advisor understand. As they have the repetitions, and we can leverage AI to analyze, even simple things like appointment setting, right? How many times do we say no? How many times do we lead with or say words like unfortunately, this type of thing, right?
Or honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
I hate that one, man. Like halfway through the phone call. Well, honestly, let me tell you this. So like, what, the first part of the phone call, you weren't being honest with me, or
Exactly. So to just quickly identify these learning and training moments, right? That we can have an effective point in time or moment in time conversation that is meaningful, right? Because it addresses how they've already been trained. But, as an owner, this because I know you do this, right? Where in the past you would have had to go through call after call after call after call where you've got the recording, and great, you've got the recording, but it's a very manual process, right? Mm-hmm. So utilizing, these tools to go through all of this volume of call activity for you and then spoon feed it to you. Say, Jimmy, here is 1 or 2 call examples to go talk with your service advisor about this. And it's meaningful. It brings up this idea of like, what's the legal implication, right? We're using AI across the spectrum today, and in some simple things, are we getting into a time now where there's a regulatory concern or a legal concern around the use of AI in consumer privacy rights and all of these things, right? You're in a state that is very much on the front edge of regulatory consideration and litigation and legal considerations around this type of thing as well. Wow. So there's a lot of activity going on already in California that has to do with notification. Your audience, you're probably familiar with this term, two-party consent state, right? So you're recording phone calls. You're required in your state where you're running your business.
Well, now they make us put our phone number on the bar website,
right,
instead of the tracking number.
Yeah, and that's being addressed too, right? So it's looking like you'll be able to use those market tracking numbers still. So
as long as the main number is somewhere on the wheel or whatever the small,
you have your bar registration number, so all this stuff. But what that speaks to is like it's a very dynamic, and that's a regulatory thing. So that some bureaucracy can create this regulation and say this is how you're going to do it, and if you don't do it this way, it's going to cost you a ton of money, and that's all real. Right. And they can, in the worst case scenario, they can fine you to a point where you can't do business anymore. So how do you stay on top of that? And even having this sense of like what's important. So if you're recording your calls in the state where you do business, which is one of 11 two-party consent states, you have to notify the caller that their call is being recorded. Well, now there is new case law. There are some new regulations that are coming on the books that say, well, wait a second, now it's not just you and me having this conversation, there's this third party, and we're not notifying anybody that there's this third party involved, right? And then what happens in the one-party consent states, where as a business owner, all I have to do is notify my employee that we're recording these calls, but am I telling my employee that I have a third party called AI that is also reviewing this call? And how far does that information reach? Who is actually reviewing this call? And I say all of that to say it's a very dynamic landscape, and it's important to understand and have vendors and partners in your business that are, specialists that understand what is happening in the regulatory space and what's happening in the legal space, the federal laws, state laws, local considerations. Definitely get involved with, your industry advocacy groups, right? California has a very active advocacy group, and it's important for your listeners across the country to know, like, where do they go for their training, and how are they seeking this information out, and are they part of this and understanding the implication, because it does affect us.
And make sure it's from a professional, not just from a Facebook post too.
It's got to be a credible source.
Yeah, the misinformation sometimes on these Facebook groups are just atrocious, right? And then you're like, oh, well, I'm not doing AI because I heard on Facebook that you'll get sued if you do AI. Like that's not what anybody said. Nobody said that.
Nobody said that. Yeah, exactly.
So you need to use it. And like back to the AI thing, like, and it's not like Big Brother, because that's the other thing a lot of advisors have a problem with. Oh, you're recording all my calls, and now you're having AI like analyze it and really putting me under the microscope and on and on.
Oh, don't you trust me?
Yeah. Well, the one thing for me is, like, I have an advisor right now. He says a lot. Great, he's a really good advisor, but he says a lot, and he's like, he wants help with that. So you can just put a script in and say, hey, chat, find out how many times it says in this, or pause or and it'll just like 8 seconds.
Right.
You said 42 times. Like, yeah, you got a problem saying man. That was a 30-second phone call.
Right.
Most of it was just but it wasn't that bad. That didn't happen. But what I'm saying is, you can go through and you can analyze that, and I don't have to listen to the phone call for one, which is just freaking maddening. I don't know how many phone calls I've listened to at like 2.0, right? It's amazing how much your brain can pick up at twice the speed. At twice the speed. Like after a while, it just becomes like normal talk.
When you're really advanced, you can kick back to 2.5 times.
No way.
But wait, there's
not a chance. Yeah. Be at 3x in no time.
Well, so there's the emotional part of this as well, right? With call reviews, and whether this is your story or not, I absolutely assure you that there are owners out there that can't and won't listen to calls, because they'll tell you, every time I listen to a call, I'm going to choke somebody. So it takes that emotional aspect out of it, right?
That's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. My service manager does that exact same thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm furious right now.
Right.
I'm like, why? I just listened to this phone call. I can't even think straight right now.
Right. Exactly. So, that resonates with people. And I have friends in the industry, trusted customers, and they say the same thing. Like, I make a point to not listen to calls, and they have to at certain points, because there's a customer dispute or something like this, and
it's the worst time though.
It's the worst time, because absolutely, you're only getting involved when there's a defect, right? So we want to use this to identify what we're doing well, what we're not doing well.
Well, the reason why that happened, in my opinion, is like because of the last 2 or 3 weeks, no one's been monitoring it.
Yep.
Right. So it's just like a slow decay.
Right.
You can go back 2 weeks and you can probably find exactly when he started slipping, and then all of a sudden a customer's upset. Like there's always a correlation.
Right.
You watch the phone calls go from 2 minutes to 3 minutes to 4 minutes, and all of a sudden they're spending 7 minutes on what are you talking to somebody for 7 minutes for, man?
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason for you to be on the phone for 7 minutes on an intake call, right? Unless they're upset or they're a price shopper. Either way, you should have some sort of way of navigating that conversation.
Yeah. Are you in control of the call?
Yeah.
Do you have ownership and these types of things? And these are all facets that, I love using AI to identify that and, measure control, measure the ownership, measure how we're using our sales skills. Are we, guiding this conversation down the path?
See, now that goes like, when do we get to a point where AI is actively listening and can start picking that out while the phone calls happen?
It's here now.
It is.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's new to me.
I got something I'll show you.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's the good stuff.
So something that's running in real time, live transcribing and measuring against, a desirable outcome, right? So
and then just have a little emoji. Hey, calm down, take a pause. Yeah. A little cloud bubble pop up. Stop arguing because we don't realize we do it.
Yeah.
Right. You get worked up in the day and you start arguing, and before you know it, you're debating a customer over something. And it's not until they review the phone call that, oh man, I did do that, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then, one of the things that I like, kind of what I call active AI, which is, this is giving real-time feedback, is basically, we can have dialogue with the service advisor can have dialogue with the customer, but there comes a time when we need to ask them to come in and see us. right? So one of the things we measure in AI call analysis is did we ask for the appointment? And there are many, many times that we'll have, a 2 or 3 minute conversation with somebody, talk about their vehicle, a need that they have, and we'll never, as a service advisor, never ask them to come in and see us.
Yeah,
that's the one right there that gets me.
That's the I was just going to say that's the infuriating part when an owner sits down and listens to a call is like, I almost can't believe that this entire conversation happened, and at no point was this person ever asked to come in.
The phone call. I pay for the phone system. I pay for you. I pay for that seat. I pay for the computer. And you take a phone call and you don't want to take any money in?
You're like, come on, people.
That's like literally your only job.
Yeah.
Right. When an intake call is like to get the damn car in the shop. Yeah. That was my emotional trigger.
So
You got me.
now how are we actively part of this conversation with having to have another person, you or somebody else, sit there and listen and be like, now's the time to ask them to, hey, let's schedule you for next, or for tomorrow at 10 a.m. or whatever.
Yes.
Prompt that in the flow of the conversation. So this now becomes important because you have a desired outcome. One, we want to identify this as an appointment setting opportunity. Maybe this is a known customer. We want to ask certain bits of information about this call, and let's leverage our best practices in AI. We don't have to have AI conduct the call for us, but they can participate. So this is now where we're seeing the blending of these technologies, right? We don't have to replace the service advisor, but we can augment what they're doing. And even prompt them, right? If the counter gets up to 8 or 10, maybe we want to be like, hey, we've got something going on here. Let's dial back the a little bit, right? So and
that's all it takes.
It really does, yeah.
And then you actively start.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I screwed up. And then just knowing, right? So doing phone call scripts and the new advisor I got, and having him listen to it, he was like, I say a lot, huh? I'm like, yeah, you do. It's a filler. It's a natural thing, especially when you're nervous and it's new. I don't like that. And just him knowing that, it was like
self-awareness.
Oh, it was like 50 or 60% drop.
That's the magic of call review, right? And I always say consistency wins. So if you have a process and you're going to review calls and you're doing this on a consistent basis, this is the magic, because you could go review a call, that service advisor could have the epiphany and then not do it for 2 weeks, and they're right back to the way that they were before.
That's true.
So if you're driving this consistent process and you leverage the technology for where it can really drive consistency. Now we are consistently now in front of the service advisor. Here's feedback, but we're not banging them over the head with it, right? It's not just like, here's my bat and I'm going to crack you across the head. It's like, hey, here's an example, right? Even to the extent where you're saying that, this was handled really well. And here's an example of a well-handled call. Listen to that. Listen to yourself on this, because I think that you did a great job. And then here's one that isn't a bad call, but there's a coachable opportunity here. And let's see, together. And that whole process, Jimmy, that might take 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. We could talk about 2 calls, and it takes a few minutes, and now we're moving on. It also creates this awareness on your team that every time they're answering that phone, what's the checklist I want to go through? Like,
yes.
Yeah, so this might be the next call that, we're going to be talking about. And if we drive that consistency, this is where we can have a really responsible use of AI in elevating our performance as an individual contributor on the front line of your business, and then also improving the customer's experience, because we want to ask them to come in and see us, right? We don't want to create fear and confusion for my customer by diagnosing over the phone and, quoting prices and creating all of this confusion and turmoil, right? So if we can identify instances where that happens and then guide my advisor consistently to behave in a way that I would like, here's my model of what I would like you to do. This is where we can really elevate our performance in the shop.
Well, that, and then here's the other side of it, is you don't need a seasoned advisor anymore. So, I mean, kind of to dabble in the whole getting rid of advisors or like taking their job, like AI's taking our job. Well, I mean, yeah, if you can't do your job and you don't want to listen, you don't want to be coached, and you think you can do it better, then yeah, there's not going to be a place for you, right? Like the industry is growing, just like the technician that was doing drum brakes from 1940 to 1970, and then disc brakes came out, And he said, I'm not doing that. I do drum brakes and I do them really well.
Yep.
Where do you think that guy is? Do you think that guy evolved with the shop? No, it's like, well, if all you want to do is just drum brakes, you can sit in the corner until the next one shows up, right? Like, how many drum brakes are we doing now? 5 to 10% of the vehicles. Like, I think a Toyota Tacoma is the only one that comes with drum brakes now. But besides the point, it's like, if he or she didn't evolve with the way the vehicles were made, they wouldn't have a job. And it's kind of the same thing with advisors. And I think that's the fear right now. Everyone has like, oh, AI is going to take my job. I'm not going to have any part of it. Because, well, yeah, if you don't want to elevate yourself, like the game has changed, right? Like, bottom line.
Yeah.
And the tool is there to make you better. Right. And if you don't want to do it, we can find somebody that has a great phone voice, great communication skills, and whatever program you have, I want it. You can just have someone, the AI, like right there reviewing in real time. Hey, say this. Hey, say this. They don't even need to know anything about brakes. We have a phone script that I can plug in, sell brakes to this, and we just say needs a brake job. It's going to be X amount of money. This is what we found with it. This is the person. And you just give a little bit of brief, right? You just prompt it, and it'll give you a whole script.
Right.
And it'll even say, like, they'll probably say this. This is what you say. They'll probably say this. Objection, say this. It'll give you like 3 or 4 objections because people have the same objections, right?
Yeah.
It's too expensive. I need my car back. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whatever. It's the same excuse over and over and over. And once you know the patterns, like the AI just gets better and better. And then you get a new one, you plug that in there, and now it just learned the new objection. And it says, okay, now you'll have 5 things. And here's what you'll say if they say any of these. But to have it in real time, it'd be like you're talking, they're listening to your phone call, and it says, you just give it a second, and it's like, say this, and you just read the script.
Right. Yeah.
And then you learn that. Then you don't need it every time, but.
Another avenue is, I like to call it a sparring partner. So if you want to, practice overcoming objections, for example, that we can leverage AI instead of the customer calling and talking to an AI agent or a bot.
Absolutely.
Your service advisor calls and talks to an AI customer, and we call that a sparring partner.
Oh, I like that. I use GPT for that.
Yep.
Sora, or not Sora, but whatever on the way to work, I just like go voice. I'm like, hey, let's run over some phone script, and I'll just like talk. It sucks because it's a little clunky. It's not the greatest, but
we can give the service advisor, basically call the number like you're going to sell this job. AI answers, pretends to be the customer, and kind of set the level of difficult. How difficult is this customer going to be, right? So
that's cool.
Dial up the screws a little bit, but set this up even on the appointment setting part of this. It's new technology that allows us to do the old school role playing. Like you would go to a service advisor training class and you'd have to do the really uncomfortable role playing where I sit across the table from you and like, you're the customer and I'm the service advisor. Okay. Ring, hello, and you're doing this stuff like face to face with somebody, super uncomfortable, mostly ineffective. But now we can do this in a meaningful, realistic way with the use of AI, and we can elevate our capability, right? So you define expectations. Here's how I'd like you to present this information and so forth. And then they can put it to the test.
That is really powerful because the objections you can count. And I know exactly what we're talking about with that in person. We do take 5 every morning. We started about a couple months ago, 3 months ago. And that's part of what we do is sometimes we'll just go over phone scripts.
Exactly.
I want them, hey, ring. But the problem is they start getting like egotistical and the caller, in quotes, starts putting up these objections that are not realistic, right? It's like, yeah, it's fun and games, but we're not really like you said, we're not being effective, right? Because they're just like toying with each other. And then he does the next one, and he's got, oh, well, I can't do it. And he just comes up with some like that's not really what happens, right? It's just so it's nice with AI because you can say and you can dial it back or say these objections, right? Don't like make some weird thing up just to trip up the guy because it's already awkward enough, right? When you're in the role playing scenarios, right? Like it gets easier over time, but it's still kind of awkward, right?
Yes, yeah, it totally is. Yeah.
And so if you can just kind of do it in your own privacy, and that's why I started doing it in my car on the way to work. I put my phone on there, have it linked to Bluetooth, and I just act like I'm driving in traffic. And then it makes it easier to do it in person or to do it when someone actually answers the phone. Because that's even worse, man, is like to not practice at all and then just answer the phone and try to just like, did you just go with the flow? It's kind of crazy that how long I operated like that and how mildly successful we were just in that aspect, and then just hiring like a coach, like an advisor coach, like,
Right.
oh, hey, can you coach these guys? And then I didn't even track it or monitor it. Just like, oh, they're in coaching, they should be getting better. And I just like set it and forget it. It's just kind of wild. Like,
But you have no gauge through that process.
man, I didn't have like, not like, I didn't even know Gauge existed.
Yeah.
As a technician, I didn't even know that advisor, like sales was like such a big aspect to it. Like, is it going back to like what I said? It's like, people needed what I had,
Right.
and it was like, you either do it or you don't. And I'm the best at fixing things. So why wouldn't you just use me? And that was my thought. And it's so ignorant. It's crazy. I mean, it is though. And you don't notice it until you start getting a little slow. Right.
Right.
And that's what happens is people get slow and they're like, oh, it's just a seasonality. It's just a season. No, you just suck at selling. Like now you don't have 1,000 people coming in with a 30% conversion rate. So you have 300 people a month, right? Now it's cut down to 300 and you're only converting 30, right? So now you're slow. Right. But if you converted all those 300, right, because you have a high conversion rate, then you would be busy during the slow times and you would be slammed during the busy times, right? Because you're just capturing it all. So yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to look at that. The statement I've heard a number of times, it's not always car count, it's making the cars you have count, right? And that's kind of what you're speaking to is how can I make sure that, my service advisor, who's the representative of me and my shop and my brand, are they a brand ambassador? Do they understand my expectation of them? And how are they representing, my business to my customer? And if you just like to set it and forget it and you're like, okay, yep, here's the phone, answer it. And, at some point, hopefully you'll ask him to come in and set an appointment with us.
It'd be really nice if you did that, Matt.
Yeah.
It's just like there's one thing that you need to, like there's one thing that we do here. I don't know if you realize that, but we fix cars. So when they call and they say their car's broken, that's a great opportunity to let them know that's what we do.
Seems like a slam dunk.
You would think.
Yeah. So again, this is why owners don't listen to calls, because that stuff happens. So we have so many tools that we can use for really making that improvement. And the kind of the one of the last points I'll make about the use of AI is it does give you a little bit of an arm's length when you're talking with your service advisor about that. Hey, here's what the AI picked up on this call, right? And this isn't, you're not saying this is what torqued me about this call. This is what the AI picked up about this call. So let's look at that together, right? And you can just have, again, it's a very, direct, quick conversation about this was the call. This was the one that was flagged or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
And let's just figure out, what's the learning opportunity here? Okay, what are you going to do different next time? Great. Let's do that. Let's move on, right? And now you're having, an engaging meeting about it instead of, a beating, right?
That really is what it is. I mean, that's huge, because now you're together. Now you have his or her back.
Right.
Right. Because now we're just trying to make the chat happy. We're trying to make AI happy.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make the owner, because if I come at him,
Yeah. It's you and I.
yeah, and all the excuses in the world come out. Well, they said this, and that's why I said this, and I'm just not that smart of a guy, and I'm not that fast, and all the excuses start coming out.
Yep.
But you're right. When I started enabling the AI and sending the script, they just looked at it and said, okay, how do I get this system? How do I trick this system in me doing a better job?
Yeah.
But you're never going to trick AI. And that's the greatest thing about it, is it's smarter than all of us.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to like manipulate the system to make your phone calls sound better, you're just going to naturally get better, because that's the only way you're going to win.
Exactly. Yeah. So, hey, win.
It's a win-win. Yeah. And I'm not the bad guy. I'm just like, hey, AI is in charge now, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Why can I see you having that conversation?
I'm much better at that. I'm not as far. I'm kind of a hothead in that sense. So if and I'll wait and I'll wait and I'll wait and I'll wait until okay, I'll better do it at the end of the day. And it's like, I should not have waited till the end of the day to have the conversation about that one phone call, right?
Yeah.
It's so ineffective because it's too late. Or a lot of it will get them all like built up, right? And then we'll have a monthly meeting. It's like, how ineffective is that? You're talking about a phone call that happened on the 6th, and you're having a meeting on the 30th of the month.
Right.
Like, it's not going to help at all.
Yeah.
Even at the end of the day, like they do a phone call at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you wait till 4 o'clock at the end of the day, or 3 o'clock. It's like hours have passed. And they're like, I've had 20 other phone calls since then. I don't remember that one.
Yeah. If
So
you
like
can
to do it right away has been the most effective thing.
Agreed. And, you pick the rhythm. If you can do a call a day, perfect. If you can't, get a few a week. But most owners can do that with each advisor. Just for if it's really a 2 or 3 minute process, there's not a lot of reasons why you couldn't do that every day. But even if right, if you can make that happen 3 times a week, the way that your advisor will change in 30 days will absolutely blow your mind. You're doing a couple things. One, you're giving constructive feedback, right? And this is, again, you got that arm's length advantage, right? Hey, this is what the AI picked up. Let's talk through this one and how are we going to do this differently next time? But you're also creating this awareness by the advisor, right? So you have the process, you've trained them with the expectation of how you want that call handled. They know that it's being evaluated, and then you're creating this awareness, like the next call that pick up, this might be the one we're talking about tomorrow morning, or whenever you're having that review, and it absolutely creates the awareness. How do I sound? Do I am I letting them hear my smile? Have I cleared my mind of the distraction of the tech that just blew up at me or whatever before I answer the phone? This type of thing. So how are we creating that awareness, and are we doing that on a consistent basis?
Yeah, and on the arms wreath, they start doing it on their own. Like, yeah, right. Because if they're going to review a phone call and they don't think it went well, do you think they want to go give it to the owner or the manager? Like, if the phone call didn't go quite the way they thought it should have, the last thing they're going to want to do is be like, hey, can you listen to this phone call where I screwed up? Right. But they can load it into the AI themselves, and it's a non-objective, like nobody knows but them and the AI, and they can actually learn on their own. Like, I don't think that phone call went good, and they put in AI, and they can look around. Okay, no one's looking, and they can analyze their own, and that's what they should be doing, right?
You create a culture of self-awareness with that, and that's super important, because I think you're leading them down the path a little bit, but you're right. At some point, they're going to pick that up, and they're going to realize, hey, I feel better about my work. I feel better about my interaction with my customers. This is actually good, right? There is that uncomfortable part at the beginning where I might even have to listen to myself on recording from time to time, it's like having the role play situation with a live person. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable to listen to myself on a call recording, but you get over that. I promise you've been through this, but I promise your listeners, your service advisors will get over that, the idea of, or the fact of listening to themselves on a call recording, and it creates the self-awareness. And that's really where you want to get. It's like, that I probably could have done something different on that call. Let me bounce this off the owner. Let me bounce this off my peer. Let me bounce it off, the model that we have. If you have a process for that, to just kind of load it in and go, right, and see, what does it produce? What can somebody that's, objective tell me about?
And beyond work, it just makes you a better person. You know, like try listening to 1,000 hours of your own voice.
Says the podcaster.
Yeah. Episode number 100. Yeah. That's 1,000 hours of my own voice. So you learn to like it, I think. You become a little objective about it.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's like that. Who's that speech coach? Vin, is it Vin Gogh? Something like that? You ever Vin Gogh? He talks about how to use your voice as like an instrument, and we can make ourselves sound so much more theatrical. And I'm like, I get what he says, but I'm not that person, and I can't get.
I feel like you sound a lot better over the microphone than I do. So again, it's just self-awareness.
Yeah, I look the other way. Everybody else sounds better than me. So, especially when I'm listening to him, like, why do I sound like an idiot? Why do I sound so nasally?
Who is my own worst critic?
There it is. Me. The guy in the mirror.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, David, it's always a pleasure to have you on. AAPEX 2025, man.
Yes. Yeah. Bring your team here next year. If you're listening to this today, it's a great place to learn, grow, and train.
It's the best, and I don't know, we didn't say this in the recording. It's the best bang for your buck.
Really?
That's what I was saying, right? Like, it costs a lot. Like, I have to get them a hotel room, and the hotel's expensive because we got to get them on the strip. But the cost of entry to get into the show, like pre-register, it's like $30, and the amount of information you get. Yeah. Like, all you're paying for is a hotel room, and they get to be in Vegas, so they get to train all, and then they're like, hey, so it's like a win-win there for them. But also the money you spend and the amount of exposure is like, there's nothing else. There's nothing else training wise that puts them in front of this much stuff for that cost. Yeah. So if you're looking at taking them anywhere, I mean, hopefully you don't have any degenerates on your team, because Vegas will bring out the sin in you. But
that's what they say. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm going straight to bed after this. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
This has been fun, Jimmy.
David, always a pleasure.
Hey, sorry to cut in, but I got to let you know about our exclusive coaching partner of the Gearbox podcast, Repair Shops of Tomorrow. If you're ready to take your shop to the next level with proven strategies for profitability, ARO growth, and operational efficiency, visit repairshopsoftomorrow.com and start shifting your business into high gear.